Medical units stand by. 30 seconds to contact. 20 seconds. 15. 10. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1.
We got him. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody watching this morning. This is Frédéric Guimond, and your favorite indie comics artist. Well, maybe not your favorite. I don't know. I'm just meeting you today. I'm starting a little bit of a morning stream, working on some artwork. I'm doing a piece that I've been working on for fun about a couple of weeks now. This is a nice Cyber Frog piece with Heather Swain kind of jumping out of the water with some mountains in the background. And we're going to have some fun finishing up the details on this because it's one of those, it's at the point where it's theoretically done, but you gotta scan and make sure that it's actually practically done as well. So going through just minute details, adding things, just making sure that the mountains are complete, the details in the branches in the back, making sure that all the elements of Cyber Frog look their best before closing it out. So I'm going to be working on this morning. I'm thinking of doing these a little bit more regularly. I wanted to get started at the beginning of the year, but I was very busy getting my own comic book out the door. If you don't know about that one is called Rattel. You can find out more on rattelcomic.com. And we're streaming this morning on Twitter. I got YouTube as usual, and I've added Twitch this morning. We got Subjugate in the chat. How you doing, man? Nice to see you this morning. I just decided to fire up this stream just for the heck of it. I'm going to be doing some morning streams, getting work done, and sharing what we're doing at the same time, and having a bit of a chat with the people who show up and want to have a conversation. So what are you working on, Subjugate? What's happening? Let me see if I can put a little bit of background music. I got some video game songs that I can just drop in at a faint volume. Oh, that's a bit. Let's try Cyberpunk here. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit better. Here we go. All right, and this will just work some minute details here. The piece is almost done. I kind of almost completed it on the Commandos this Saturday, and but you know how it is. There's always stuff to be added. Right? I'm going to channel my inner Bob Ross today, working with these Faber-Castell big brush pens. I want to keep the quality of the black areas just to make sure that these, because when you sell these, you don't want them to turn gray or blue. Because you look at the old X-Men, old Marvel, DC art, those guys were on a tight deadline, and a lot of times they'd use Sharpies, and it's fine because I don't think they were making those to sell the originals back in the day. You're doing them to deliver to Marvel. But you look at some of the spots and they kind of turn blue with time. Hopefully we can keep the quality of these pieces to last a very long time. All right. We got Sheldon in the chat. How you doing, Sheldon? What tools do you use to ink with, Frederick? All right, so this is my favorite. This is the Fukushima. No, that's mistaken. So this is the Tombow pens. The Tombow pens are basically calligraphy pens. I tried these out. I saw them on stream. I forget the name of the artist who went through his tools, and these were some of them. So I always like to discover stuff, especially when an artist goes online and says, "Oh, this is my favorite pen." I'm like, okay, well, I'll at least buy one and try it out and see what it's like. Because if it's somebody's favorite, maybe I can get some use from it. So these Tombow pens, I tried them out. They're calligraphy pens, and I just fell in love with them. So they kind of replace the nibbed pens we used to use. Those things kind of just tore my wrists up. I had like too much pressure when I was working with the metal nibs, and I just hated inking with those. They would break all the time. They would splatter. I was not good with those pens. And when I came back to making comics, and I thought everybody used those nibs because it's kind of what people were using back in the day. And now we see a lot of people. Well, a lot of people are just doing digital outright, but people have different tools. Like I've seen Ethan Van Sciver, he uses these Copic multiliners, and I think he uses 0.003, like a very tiny little nib, and he does all his artwork with the same nib, it seems, and he's masterful at it. Yeah, so these calligraphy pens, and they end up being my one tool almost. Obviously, when I'm doing like big areas, I'll use the Artist Big Brush pens. These give quality blacks, and I kind of like the result. Of course, you have to master your tools. It's all about who's holding the pen, but yeah, you got to start with good tools for sure, man. Subjugate says, I'm sneaking and working on some panel layouts while at work. Oh, dude, that's cool, man. You got to get it when you can, because you know, life doesn't make it always easy on us. And sometimes work can have you sitting on your ass. I remember I used to work at a gaming company once, and we were waiting on stuff to come in for the client. I was like, well, I got nothing to do right now. What should I hit on? Well, they just sit down and just wait for the work to come in. So you could use those times to draw. You can use those times to learn about stuff. You got to get it when you can. We got Wrangler, whole lot. How you doing, Wrangler, man? I hope you're having a good day. Hope everything's going well. Yeah, everybody's saying hi. Hey, Ryan, what's up, man? How's it going? How's everything going? I saw you went to a convention, dude, and you sold a bunch of comics. That was freaking fantastic. I'd love to talk with you about that experience. That sounds cool, man. Yeah, everyone's saying hi. That's cool, man. Nice to see you guys here in the chat this morning. This is a nice balance so far of white and black. I've been working on that, man. I've been working on the balancing. You know, especially when you do your first comic, like I did Rattel #1. Well, it's not my first comic, but it's my first indie comic where I'm doing everything, right? And I was going back through those pages, and I'm like, you know, the early stuff it's a lot of just open lines. Like there's not a whole lot of blacks, there's not a whole lot of dark areas. So I was I made a note to myself, I'm going to try to focus on this a little bit more. You got to, you want to improve your art every day in the areas that you're weaker, and of course you want to play to your strengths as well. So I'm like, okay, and I've been focusing on the pinups lately, trying to make sure I got some good dark areas and make things pop where I can. So thank you for noticing that. Definitely working on it. More people saying hello. Oh yeah, it was a great experience. I'm trying to find another. I got the bug. Dude, are you going to be coming to the For the Fans Fest in October in Atlantic City? We're all going to be there. Like the Commandos are going to be there. A lot of CG people are going to be there. It's going to be a crazy event of comic skaters and indie comic people who don't call themselves comic skaters, basically. People online crowdfunding comics on YouTube and Twitter. It's easier to say comic skaters, but people take issue to that. It'd be great to see there, man, if you're in the area. That'd be kind of cool. Perfectly balanced as all things should be, right? Balance with the force. And yeah, another one who was asking, Sheldon was asking, another one I like too is the Pentel brush. This one is a synthetic brush, so instead of being a calligraphy pen, it's got these synthetic hairs there, and you got a cartridge in there, so you don't have to refill it. It's always kind of perfectly ready to go. It's good for the darker areas. I sometimes use it. You can do straight line art with it, line art, but I haven't been using it for that lately. I've been kind of using it to fill in some dark areas once I've got the outlines and I got to fill in. I don't go straight with the pen, which can be, kind of clumsy. I'll kind of give myself a little bit of a darker border with these pens before I go in. And I love these. I love the feelings of these. It doesn't have as much resistance as a calligraphy pen because it's so soft. Because when you got the calligraphy pen, you can press that one onto the page like with force, you know what I mean? Like if you want to do fine lines, you can just like let it graze the page and just, barely touch it, and it'll give you the finest, most pristine line. And then if you want to lean into it and get these line variations like we see here on the legs and stuff, then I just press into the pen and it's like you're digging into the page and you're getting these nice lines. Sometimes to get the thicker ones, you want to go, once or twice, a couple of passes will do better. But that's why I like them so much, man. It's where I get all these kind of outlines on the characters here. And yeah, it's definitely my tool of choice. So what have you guys been using? What's your favorite tool? Favorite tool to ink with, guys. Get your mind out of the gutters. I know how you guys think. I know my audience. I know who I'm dealing with here. What do you use for when you make mistakes I don't make mistakes, Sheldon. What are you talking about? How dare you insinuate that I make mistakes on stream? But if I did make mistakes, I would use this acrylic paint marker. So these are, and none of these are perfect, by the way. I got the Jelly Roll, which is a small pen that gives you a thick, an opaque white. But these are hard to work with. Like none of these are perfect. And the white Jelly Roll, this is kind of what I use here to add little splashes. You got to kind of like dig the nib into a piece of paper on the side. Let me just get a piece of cardboard here. I got an envelope, this will do. So I kind of got to dig the nib to get it flowing. And then once it starts flowing, then I can start to use it. And here I've been adding like little splatters of water from the splash. and it works pretty well once you get it going. The issue is to get it going and how long it goes before you have to go in and press the tip into a piece of paper. But it's really opaque. I've got to wait for it to dry a little bit. That's the biggest drawback, I think, in drawing on traditional boards, especially with these with inks and white acrylic like that, is you don't want to spread it with your hand and get your side of your hand dirty and then splash it. But I haven't been making too many mistakes. That's why I enjoy not working with ink pots anymore, not using nibs, not using brushes. I've been able to avoid a lot of the mistakes I used to do when I was like in my teenage and early 20s, learning to ink. I'd get a lot more splatters, a lot more issues coming up. But with these modern tools, it's I haven't had any huge inking mistakes. What the main issues that I have is I'll draw my lines and then they'll go over another form, like because I'm trying to get the movement in, and I don't want to stop the movement too early. The line loses kind of its momentum, and what happens is it'll go over a little bit on another shape. So I'll go back in and I'll ink that out. I'll white it out, like this one here, for example. This piece, fix this, like so. And these are very opaque, so it's useful, but you can make a mistake once or twice, but if you do it any more than that, it'll start to get crusty. You know, you'll start to see texture, and you don't want that. So you got a couple of shots to fix things up, but it's not like digital. That's cool. Never seen that white marker before. Yeah, man. Yeah, get yourself one of these. The Jelly Roll pens are the small ones for minute details, and I got the Utilocraft acrylic paint marker that works well. All right, it says if it would be possible, I might consider going for the Fans Fest year 2. This year's a success, I might be more well organized. Right now, I'm going to try and tour the Texas cons. All right, my man. Well, keep us in the know. Keep us posted on Twitter. If you make a mistake, just keep going. Mark that there is a mistake, but keep going. Once done, go back and fix it up. Yep, no, exactly right. It's kind of like writing. Like you don't want to stop yourself and fix yourself along the way. You just keep going, and once you're done with the momentum, you got the energy of the initial piece down, then you could do your cleanups. Cleanup is the easy part, for sure. And Art knows what he's talking about. Yeah, man. Hey, Apex. How's it going, man? Thank you, sir. Wow, I just spontaneously started a stream this morning, and all you guys are kind of hanging out. Really cool. And we got Omer in the chat. How you doing, Omer Glitch? Omer's the one who initially got me going to do live streams at the beginning of the year. Was it late last year or the beginning of this year? And I was like, yeah, I want to do these, but let me get my comic book stuff out of the way first. And then I'll be able to go back to doing more regular streams. And I'm about there now, Omer. I think seeing the half point of the year now, June 1st, I think my mind got going like, oh, I want to be doing some live streams. I got to be doing some live streams. You are, man. Dude, Omer's a very humble guy, but he's good at getting people together. He's got his own streams. He's, putting a lot of connections, and he's a big streamer. Like, well, in the sense that you stream a lot. Still, like, you got a show, I think, every freaking day almost. Do you take the weekends off? Yeah. There we go. yeah, did a Cyberprog piece here for fun, and also this is the second one I did one for a a cover for Warlock magazine, which is a Twitter account that posts content like a magazine. Magazines aren't as easy to come by nowadays with the cost and distribution not making it worthwhile. But anyways, I had done a Cyberfrog before, but you know what? I had forgotten the warts on his back, and it had already gone out, and I was like, oh, it's too late to fix that. And I wanted to, have another go at it. The character is really cool. First of all, love drawing the all the mechanical parts, the chrome legs. And first of all, like, we French people are, we do love our frogs. I'll have to admit. So I've got a soft spot in my heart for this character, and he looks really cool. And I wanted to do some shadows, as we were talking about earlier. And Art Haida says, what is this, a blackface cyberfrog? So I've been calling this piece a blackface cyberfrog. Go. Maybe I should drop the link here if people want to join in just for fun. I know all of you guys, so if someone wants to come hang out and talk, welcome to do so. I have started streaming on Twitch today. Where's this nice blackface, right? It's a silhouette, which is a French term for blackface. I'm kidding, of course. Yeah, so I've also started streaming to Twitch this morning, Omar. I've had a Twitch account forever that I've never used. I've been thinking, let me add that to while we're streaming on Twitter, while we're streaming on YouTube, why not add that? There's Kick also I'm considering. I hear good things about Kick as well. So why not get the word out? We're trying to, we're talking to ourselves all the time. We're promoting to ourselves, which is great because we help each other out. We support each other. We get the projects up and running so they can at least be a reality. Like a lot of good comics would not be done if we didn't support ourselves as a community. But we also have to grow the community outside of our own space, right? We can't just be, talking to the choir all the time, can we? I think we need some variety in here. Oh, we got Ryan dropping in. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, what's up? What's up, man?
How you doing, my man?
Hey, usually I am. Hold on one second. Let me. Okay, I was still on YouTube. What's up? No, I was like, why am I hearing the echo? And it just throws me off. No, it's usually I'm drawing and like nobody's on, so I was like, oh, cool, So yeah, no, I had a good time. I had a good time at the convention. Friday's horrible, but Saturday and Sunday, like that really made up for it. And it was a really cool experience. I mean, I've done expos and things like that before, but not for comics or anything like that. It was for my other job, so I was like sort of in my element still. But yeah, I just it was cool. It was cool. I definitely have the bug. I think I want to go out and do some more, so I applied for like 2 more cons, and we'll see what happens.
So you rented out a table, basically?
I did, yeah. I rented out a 10 by 10 square, and it was right off the main aisle because I was in Artist Alley, so I was just like, I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of money, on that, on being on the main carpet. But you know what? Next year, for the same con, I think I'm gonna be on the main carpet because it was just so much more traffic and so much more visibility.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh well, yeah, no, definitely gonna do that. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, talking to people, getting people over to the booth and letting them ask questions and whatnot about the project and this, that, and whatever. So I mean, all in all, it was a pretty cool experience. As far as just the reception, I don't think I like that. But yeah, that's about it. Like I said, I would definitely recommend anybody, if you have like a local con that you'd like to do, yeah, don't hesitate, man. Get out there, bring Rattel and watch Rattel sell.
Yeah, dude,
So.
I'm waiting for the book. It's at the printers right now, so I'm like,
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I did that. I went through that myself, waiting for that. And what's funny was they had my book, and I was like, okay, I had applied for this con, but I was on a waiting list because it was a pretty big, I guess one of the bigger shows here in town, for comic conventions. And I was like, okay, cool. Wasn't really thinking anything of it until I finally got accepted, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, now that I'm accepted, I kind of need those books. So I reached out to the guys, and I was like, hey, I'll pay for overnighting. If you guys could do that for me, and yeah, they threw it in a box and sent it over. So I was like, yeah. I mean, so I was working with Critical Blast, so they were very very helpful.
That's who I'm going to work with for the distribution. I've got Pete Samedi doing the printing. He's got his what do you call it, the newsprint.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
he set up, like, he had a whole crowdfund around the printer for a while. And I jumped on that and got him to print the book, and it's printed in the U.S. because I remember I'm in Canada over here,
right?
So we've got tariffs of stuff going.
So are you close to the border? Can you just like drive over and pick it up, or is that not a thing?
No. So I'm not that close. I'm about what? It takes me 6 hours to get.
Oh, snap! Yeah.
No, not to the border, but because Montreal's 3 hours, and I think Montreal's 1 hour away, so it's like 4 hours maybe.
Oh, okay.
And that's to the border.
Right.
I'm not necessarily at the printers. But no, we're going to do it through shipping. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Peter to ship it, a part of it, straight to Critical Blast. So Critical Blast is going to be doing the distribution.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to mail it from the United States than to mail it from Canada. The Canada posting service is kind of broken right now. Well, Canada period is kind of broken right now. So I'm going to do it that way, and we're going to get a bunch of books here for cons and things like that. We don't have a whole lot of cons here. This is a French bande dessinée culture in my city. So we have book fairs that have a little bit of comics in them, but we still have like comic book conventions in Montreal. So if I go drive to Montreal, there's I think 1 or 2 a year there. So I'll try to hit those ones.
Yeah. Okay, well that's cool. Yeah. Have you been to many cons over there?
Years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been to conferences in the city here, but it's like, when I say years, I mean like decades.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, same for me. Like the last time I was at an actual, comic convention, was when I was young. I hadn't been to one in so long. If I ever wanted to do anything, with that, I'd just go to the local comic shop, and that's about it.
And did you bring the family with you this time?
I did. They helped me sell. My kids arranged
to work there. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, I did. Heck yeah.
They also have their input in the book, right?
They do, because
talk to them about the story.
And my character's very young. Ish, he's in early 20s. So are my eldest boys. They're in their early 20s. So, I really kind of relied on them with like, hey, how would you guys, sort of navigate this situation? What's the first thing you guys would think or whatever? And we kind of riff on that a little bit, and that's kind of how we, kind of constructed the story and all that. So, just it's not a my character is, he's not a self-insert. Like a lot of people are like, oh, that's a self-insert, but it's definitely not, because I'm not that age. And then, but I mean, I do have a lot of fun with the character himself, and it's just it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to create this world, and that was like one thing that was a major kind of thing. Talking to the people at the convention was I'd tell them, hey, this is indie comic or whatever, and a lot of them were like, oh, say no more, I support indie comics. I was like, oh, sweet. So I didn't really have to, but I mean, I tell you the truth, man. On Saturday and Sunday when it was busy, man, by the end of the day I was hoarse. My back was hurting because I was standing all day, right? A lot of people, go, because nobody knows me, nobody knows who I am. So, a lot of people would like just pass the booth. So I had to like change the table to make it to where I could actually approach people and kind of like, hey, do you like comic books? I have, this comic book here, and here's my character, and this is what he's about, and all that. And I could give him the spiel. And it was on Friday. I found out, that's not as easy as it is when you're standing behind a table and you have a pretty big gap. It's a pretty big aisle.
Right?
Yes,
it's almost a confrontation.
A little bit, and it's I'm not and it's kind of a little timid for some people too, because they're like, oh no, because number one, they're half listening to you because they really don't care. I mean, not that they don't care about what you're saying, but they just don't care. Right, because they're number one. It's Friday was the hardest, but because it was like number one, they go through on Friday and they kind of look around and say, hey, this is kind of these are the cool things that that I want to go back and look at later on, right? So they go and kind of peruse, and they want to see the whole, all the aisles and all the people's stuff that have brought goods and all that. And it's not just comics, it's Harry Potter stuff, it's a whole bunch of crafts. They had the Renaissance Festival people there, all kinds of stuff. So I was like, okay, so it's a little bit of everything. They call it like Comic Palooza, but I was like, all right, so it's Comic Palooza very loosely. So I was like, all right, that's cool. And then you go there and you tell them, hey, this is what it's all about. And they're like, yeah. Some people will say, hey, I'll come back, and I'll definitely come back and check you guys out again or whatever before we leave. And I had a lot of that, but some people will find other things in the convention that resonate with them more or whatnot. So it's all cool. But yeah, I mean, overall, man, it was a pretty fun experience. I was like, yeah, this is nice. The worst part about the experience for me was like maybe the parking, situation. that was kind of not the greatest at the convention hall, but it was nice. But I mean, because the first day that I was there, I unloaded by myself, and I kid you not, dude, it looked like Carney's. I was like, I went in.
I don't know what Carney's is.
Okay, like carnival people, right?
Okay.
So like, people that they just look like they have, they go in there, they set up the structures for these artists and stuff. Some of the artists are there, some of the artists aren't. They have hired these people to go in there and put it all up for them, because they're putting up these really tall structures. All they do is hold paintings, that or hold 11 by 17 posters and things like that. So they have that, and I just looked around. I was like, man, everybody here just looks so what do I want to say, just hard, like biker gang hard. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So it's me there, and just flip-flops and a baseball hat, and then I got all these other people that are like just totally ready for like anything, and it was easy for me because I've done like stuff like that before. I've set up booths and whatnot, but not for comics, for again, runs and stuff like that, and marathons, half marathons, things like that. But so I mean, it was very similar territory for me, as far as like I felt kind of at ease with where I was and what I needed to do to set up. And the next day, I did change it up a little bit. Like I said, I moved the table to the side, and I just definitely I recommend taking, those mats that people put in their garage.
Yeah.
Bring like a set of those and set those up in your booth area,
so
that
your feet are not on the cement. The whole day.
exactly, because
Yeah.
that's all it is all day is just standing in that position in the cement. And unless you're like an artist that has, like, I don't want to say clout, but I mean just has a presence, that you don't have to hustle, per se, you're definitely going to need to go out and like interact with people, move away from your booth and draw people back into your booth, because it's not the artwork. A lot of people are not even going to see it. A lot of people are going to blow right past it. There was a lot of people that were like, oh, I didn't know you had that. And it was because it wasn't because there was anything obstructing in my booth or anything like that. It was just because they just, you've got a certain amount of seconds to capture somebody's attention, to interest them or entice them enough to come over to your booth and interact with you, talk to you, whatever. And if you don't get that, then you miss out on that opportunity or that situation. So,
and everyone's competing.
Oh man, dude, I had these people across the way. They brought a book. It was so funny. They brought a book, and the book was like, what do I want to say? It was a black character that was beating up on the KKK, and so they had a booth, and they had a computer, and they had a boom box, or like not a boom, like not a subwoofer either, but it was like just one of those all-in-one stereos that they put underneath the table, and it was blaring their trailer. And I'd brought my TV, and I'd brought my and of course I was just using the TV speakers. And I had a guy next to me, and he was roughly about my age, and he was like, yeah, I don't mind you playing it, just don't play it as loud as that over there, because he was sitting there drawing, and I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I wasn't blaring mine, but they were blaring theirs, and I had, because I make YouTube content, I had like 5 or 6 different videos that would alternate. They would loop, but it would alternate. And so it wasn't like just so repetitive. But the guys across the way, they were younger, like like my kid's age, and they were playing this one trailer. Just it was on repeat, and it was just over and over, dude. From the morning to the evening, that's all I'm hearing is. And it was so funny. There was a line.
Isn't that like a CIA torture technique?
Yeah, a little bit. I felt waterboarded, but I was but without the water. And there's this one line, and my kids and myself, we made fun of it later because it was just repetitive all day. It was funny, but it was like there was like I said, the character was a black superhero, and he's beating up on these Klansmen, and so one of the Klansmen was like, "What kind of Negro are you?" And then the response, he'd get beat up, boom, 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 beat up and all that. And
in the like, trailer you're talking
in about. The trailer. Yeah. And then the guy would finally retort, like the pissed off kind. And we had to hear that line the whole day because it was just like a minute trailer, so it would repeat all day long. So there may have been like, we may have heard it, hundreds of times. But at the end of the day, I was on the phone. They're driving, back to their house. I was driving to mine. I was like, what kind of Negro are you? They're like the pissed off guy. It was just so funny. Because it was all in good fun, and the guys were really nice. They bought books from me, and it was and then they read it. And nice. They're like, hey man, this is great. And they brought the other one, because there was 2 of them. The other one, it was like, hey man, you need to buy it. And so I sold 2 to them, which was nice, and I sold some more to other patrons, or not patrons, exhibitors as well. And I was like, wow, that's cool. And what was a really cool experience for me for Saturday, since Friday was horrible, I only sold like 4 books on Friday. I really wish I had done that thing with the table on Friday and just been out there and kind of interacted a little bit better. But there's sort of the thing where it's like, I don't know this temperament or the type of people that I'm, going to interact
Yeah, well,
with
it was a
yet.
learning experience on
Exactly.
Friday. It got you warmed up, and you were able to observe and adjust and make
Yeah.
the best of
Yeah.
it for
And I
Saturday.
had a buddy of mine come over and he helped me out as well. Because he was a salesman. He was like, "Hey, this is what you need." I kind of emulated what he did, and then he came back on Saturday and helped me out. And then, I had
So
2 days with
what
him.
was he?
so-
What was he doing that was different?
Oh man, he was just so personable. He didn't know jack crap about my comic. No, he does, but he never really. That wasn't his thing. That wasn't his pitch. He was just like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here? How many times have you been here? Who all's in your party?" Just really personal. I was like,
Getting
"Oh,
to know
okay."
them first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought people were just like, do I want to spend my money on any of this? Do I care? Anything like that? And that wasn't really where their focus was. They really appreciated that. Hey, people were taking time to invest in them and all that. And so, one really good thing for me was that on my campaign, my Indiegogo campaign is there weren't a lot of people that bought or my 3D printed rings that I had. So I had a lot of those left over.
Oh,
And I was like,
yeah.
you know what? Let me give these out to kids. And so I brought my wheel, my little, like kind of wheel of fortune, but it's like one of those things everybody puts it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people put it on their tables. And I had kids come over and spin the wheel. Well, regardless if they won or lost, I still give them a ring. Or a sticker. I had stickers as well, and I would just give those out or whatever. And the kids, they like leaving with something, and some of them were like really cool with like
Kids
the
love
character
free
and all that.
stuff because
They
they don't need to ask mom or dad to buy it.
They just need to ask them to spin the wheel, and 9 times out of 10, they would. So I was like, oh, this is great. I repurposed this thing that wasn't such a success, or wasn't such a draw. For the Indiegogo thing, I made it work for something else. So I was really happy about that.
That's smart,
And
man.
yeah, it was really cool. And some of the kids, were into it and all that. And that's kind of my target audience is kids. Because I mean, I want kids to kind of grow up with this, kind of grow as I'm putting these stories out. I want them to sort of, grow with the stories, and then, hopefully, that's kind of
Dude,
how you
that's a good point you're making because we're out here selling to each other, to other creators, and it's
Yeah.
nice because we love comics. But we got to build up the next generation as well. We got to get these books out to kids. We got
Yeah.
to have a new generation of readers growing up with these stories and sharing them and talking about them.
Right. And so that was my whole focus, because I'm like, my book it's sophisticated storytelling. It's got drama and all kinds of stuff in it, but it's something to where it's kind of like Star Wars or Ghostbusters or what's another film, just any film that has any sort of nuance, or anything like that has something that for adults. So adults can look at it and say, hey, you know what? Oh, I dig this story. I dig this environment, the characters, all that, and also it's good for my kids. The kids see something that's exciting and fun, and it's a spectacle and all that kind of stuff. And then when they get older, it's sort of enriched. So when you watched the Ghostbusters when you were a kid, the original movie, you liked all the proton packs and the ghosts and all that kind of stuff. But then when you got older, you saw you heard the funny nuances of what Bill Murray was saying to Sigourney Weaver and all that. It's like, oh, that's or when he was when Egon and well, yeah, I guess forget it. When Peter and Egon were discussing how much to charge the guy on the fly, that's a funny thing because they're a business. And
when you've done a little business yourself,
yeah,
kinda
and
like,
it's like, oh, well,
right,
that's
that is
hilarious.
a good question there.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me figure that out.
And yeah, it was like I said, overall it was a good experience, and I would definitely do it again. I definitely have put it out there to do it again, but yeah, I mean there's just certain things that I would do more or better. And one of the other things, I was so glad my friend was there, was that he took video and photo of me in action, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it was very very helpful, because I was like, you know what, I need to make a video or something. I need to make like a recap or whatever, and put it out there. And fortunately, he had that for me, and I was like, oh, nice, because I did not have the, yeah, I do a lot of videos and stuff like that, but I mean, when you are sort of in the mix and you're distracted by everything, it is just so
You need a little help.
you need somebody to help kind of see the forest through the trees, right? And so that's kind of that was very very much very helpful, and also I invaluable. It was very invaluable. So, but yeah, that was my experience there. Sold over 100 books, and
Well, that's good. It's
and-
hard to do that just by crowdfunding, and you don't have to ship them.
right, and that was great. And one of the things that I was like, yeah, here you go. But the thing is that like I was asking so many people, yeah, how what do you do here, what do you do there? So I bagged and boarded all the books, and typically that's not what you do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, typically people just have the books there. And I was like, oh, well, there's that, because and then there was I felt bad for this one guy, but because he had like a paint marker, but a lot of people wanted me to sign it on the spot. And I was like, I didn't, because I didn't, any of the books that I sent out, of people, for people to back the Indiegogo, I did not sign any of those because I didn't touch them. They went to Critical Blast, and then they went out to people. And so I was kind of like shocked that that anybody wanted my signature, because I was like, again, it's like
Well, they want to get your signature so they can forge.
so they don't have to come back. So they're like, oh, this is great. Oh, where's that guy? where's he at?
Yeah, it's always like because it's an experience, right? They're
Yeah.
meeting the creator, especially in indie comics, right? Because you never know where these stories are going to go. So it's nice. You're meeting the creator, you get the signature, and then it's a story you tell. You have the book in your bookshelf at home, and what's
Right.
this? Oh, this is this guy I met. We talked to him. He's from this. He did this. Blah 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 blah. So it becomes a memory.
Yeah. So it was really that was really cool. Like I said, I did have people come in on Saturday, purchase a book, and then they brought somebody else over to them. They told me that they liked it, and then they encouraged their friend to purchase, not just those guys across the way, but other people that had read the book, and encouraged somebody else to come over and buy it from me as well. And so that was really cool. I was like,
Did
wow.
you have like all the multiple covers at the table?
I
Or-
did.
Okay.
Did. And of course, the one that sold the most was the least expensive. But the other one that sold the most was the Jimmy Reyes cover.
Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah.
Well, that was and it was partly because it was his cover, but partly nobody really knew who he was. But when I was like, yeah, he's worked with David Finch, he's inked Batman and Wolverine and Daredevil for him. He's worked at Antarctic Press. They were like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So not that they knew who he was or did anything like that. They were just like, oh yeah, that added some sort of value, because the people that are getting these books on the Indiegogo platforms and the Kickstarters and all that kind of stuff, they kind of have an idea of who these artists are, so you don't really have to sell them too much on that, because they're already like in the know, or it's on the site, and it's all, and it's you don't have to advertise it. It's just you just put it in the paragraph and says, hey, this is the person that has contributed or whatnot. This is their artwork. But yeah, it was really cool that we sold a lot of those. I do have some left over, but I think what I'm going to do is after I sell out of these covers, I think I'm going to go with a different. I'm going to do a reprint, but differently. I'm going to have a different cover.
Well, you have to. Yeah. You have to make
and-
the second print different.
Yes. I was like, you know what? These are, I love them. Maybe I'll just make them posters, but I'm just not going to print these again. And I'd like to do a foil cover. I think that would be cool. later on. Not now, but but I saw a lot of foil stuff there at the convention. I was like, man, that's pretty nifty.
Those are shiny. And when you come back next year as well, you'll have a second book, perhaps? Are you working on
I'm
a
working.
second
That's
book?
what I'm working on right here.
Right
is
today,
book
yeah.
2. Yeah. So this
Oh,
is
hold on.
book 2.
Let me blow you up a little bit. Whoops, no, that's
Oh,
not. That's
there we
me.
go.
That's me. Hold on. There you go.
So this is and I do not like drawing structures because it is so precise for me. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, there's a sort of a building, but for me, it's just like I'm using the tools that make the straight lines and all that kind of stuff and all that, and then down here, I've got oops, I don't need that.
We got
Hold on.
Sheldon asking, how many pages are the books, Ryan?
The first one was 20 pages. It was just basically and this one will be 24. And I've already got this one basically drawn. I'm just going back and going through and
you're
adding
already way ahead of the game for the second one then.
Oh yeah. No, and like I've already got this. Oh, I just got done with this yesterday. The crater in the building. That was fun to draw. So basically all I did was
You cut the energy hole.
yeah.
It
So-
reminds me of Akira, when like Tetsuo was coming out of the hospital room and then he's getting it, surrounded by the help.
Yeah.
And then he's got this energy bubble going around him.
Yeah.
The
So
holes
there's
forming
the
ceiling and
ball.
walls. Yeah.
And it's in 3 spots. And it's just sort of like, okay, it starts off kind of small, and this is going to be negative space. That's why the line art is white. And then he's purple only temporarily because I just flatted him. And then so I haven't flatted him yet down here.
Right,
But
because you're working in digital, so you can
I am.
bleed over the different steps.
Yes. So again, I wanted to, and here, let me take the ball off. I wanted to give the first. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Where's the ball? Ball. Good thing. And label your layers. It's always helpful. But anyway, I wanted to show this same rooftop, the same exact rooftop, which is again, for me, that's sort of a headache. Because I want to get all the structural pieces right. So I did the little entryway for the person to come up on the roof, the two AC units, the billboard, the empty billboard rather, and then the skylight. I guess that's what those are on top of roofs. And I basically just kind of put that in the same thing, and sort of I started the crater here where it's just sort of circular, and then as it grows, it destroys.
It's got these tendrils all.
Yeah. So it's
Organic.
a little erratic. Yes, it's organic, erratic, and so this was one of my biggest pages to tackle as far as scale and scope and time spent. Like I'm gonna need to spend a lot of time on down here. I sort of pseudo have this is where I'm gonna put not that it's needed, but I just do it anyway. But this is sort of the fire escape. I just kind of have it vaguely, marked off as far as that's where it's going to live.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to go back over that and put that on. And then down here, I'm going to have in the streets, I'm going to have the cop cars. And then I'm going to have my little, what do you call those things? Drones. So if I go here, let me see it. Yeah. So this is one of the pages that actually has dialogue to it. So you can see it's fine. But there's my drone.
You're doing that dialogue as well. It's like complete bleed over of all the steps. It's nice to see, man.
Yeah.
Because the Europeans do a lot of everything on the same page as well. Like the dialogue will be on the original art too, which even the Americans, like in the old days, like it was always cut out by a letterer.
Yes.
The Europeans would just hand draw it, and it would be the artist with letter too. So
yeah, and so I had to match this a little bit as well. The perspective is a little bit odd, but there's all that structure again. I just need to add the what do you call it? I thought I had it the sunroof, light roof, whatever. From this page, I don't know what that's called. I have no idea.
Sunroof sounds about right. I'm not sure.
But so again, there's just so much happening on this area here, and this is sort of like,
you can go in through those. I've seen. I've been playing.
Oh, Batman,
Well, I played the James Bond game this weekend. Just yesterday, you go in through one of the sunroofs at one point.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So, not that it's needed on this building. I just thought it looked very empty, and so I just started adding things to it, and I was like, okay, so this all looks like it can comfortably live on top of a building. Not that many people, go through and like look at the tops of buildings, which I kind of have now. I go to Google Maps and I zoom in and I start looking at the tops of buildings, and I'm like, okay, well that can go there. There's a lot of interesting things on the top of New York buildings, from the sky view. But yeah, so I mean,
we have such resources that people did not have, like.
Yeah, I know, right?
30 years ago, dude, all they had was magazines. They were like, "Oh, you got to collect photos in magazines. You got to get those."
Exactly. I love reference. I need reference. I can draw practically anything I need to, as long as I have good reference. I can draw pretty much anything I need. Like these the helmets. I found helmets on Google, and the car. Well, the cars. Never mind that. The car's across the street, so that's kind of cheating. So I had a physical reference for that.
Yeah,
but
I buy little models for what I call the hero vehicles, the vehicles that keep coming up over and over again, like my character's motorcycle.
Okay.
A van or a rig like is featured heavily in the comic. I'll have a model so I can just in my hand hold it, and
that sort of helped me with my main character Neff. I had that statue made, right? Because I needed to get a physical 3D representation, because his ears on his outfit are they're interesting, and from different perspectives. Let me show you this one. From different perspectives, they just look kind of odd. So like, from looking underneath his chin, his little ears or whatnot would kind of slope back. So there's this whole thing. So, and then do I have another? Oh look, okay. So that's very rough. That's very rough sketch. That's kind of where he is, and they're shooting this net at him, and that's
hover car.
Yeah, and that's it's a drone. So I'm gonna put the propellers on there as well.
That's a big drone.
That's kind of what my characters have, or my city has. It has the police have drones that they can fly around, and then
we're getting there now here.
Pretty much. I saw one as like the people were using it as like a taxi or something, but yeah, so there's his little ears again, and so I was like, I need to make something that and that's sort of my underdrawing with my refined artwork on top. But I needed to have something that I could kind of orbit around, and so making a physical statue was very very helpful for me.
You did a 3D print? Is that how you?
3D print? Yeah. We made a 3D statue, and we put it and we had it to be sold as well on the convention. But of course, a lot of things, and we made all this stuff here. Everything is in house. The only thing I couldn't do is print the books. But everything else, like the shirts, I made the shirts myself. I screen printed them myself. We printed the 3D rings, we printed the 3D statues. I think that's all that I made. But yeah,
that's still a lot, especially for a first book,
Oh yeah, no, I was like, hey, I want to go, like most people, with their properties, I want to go all in. So
hey,
that was
Adam, how you doing? Nice to see you, man.
what's up.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
Like when you're doing your first book, I had a lot of ideas of stuff I wanted to do, but I was like, okay, this is my first book. Let me take
Yeah.
like small bites and not get it. And dude, even just the comic is a lot of work. It's
Oh,
just
sure.
surprising.
Yeah, so like right here, this is I drew his back with the muscles, but that of course he's going to be wearing like a armor, so that's not needed. But I needed to know where everything lived, so I was like, I need to draw his body first,
Sure.
and then I can like put clothes on him.
Absolutely.
And that was this is kind of like one of the things that I do. With Neff, he's basically, with all superheroes, they're basically naked. you just don't, if you don't add the crotch or the
we call them
nipples,
tights, right?
you call it tights. So, but yeah, that's kind of it. And again, same thing, just to get his structural, his body. Same thing with this one. I'm going to refine this again. I go through, because it's digital, I can blue line and then blue line and then blue line and then blue line until I finally have what I want is refined. Like this is still not refined. This is just scratches.
Yeah, and you can reshape the forms as well. There's
Yeah.
way more stuff you can do. Whereas with pencil, you gotta, if you're like, oh, I need to stretch out his leg a little bit, you gotta erase the leg and redraw it. Whereas in digital, you can just like literally stretch it out.
Yeah. So, but
I'm curious.
Mhm.
This being the second book, have you changed any of your approach to drawing? Is there any changes you made from learning from the first book, or are you still kind of just natural evolution of what you started in the first one?
The only thing that I can say that is different with this book versus the other one is that I have a more well-rounded idea of where I wanted to go. In the first one,
Yeah.
was a little bit more. I was, it was, uncharted territory. So my mind was always racing. Like, well, what can I do? What can I add? What can I, make different? What can I put in here? Where can this go? Where would it lead? What should I add? What should I take away? And so there was just many more questions than answers. And now that I have the first book done, that's my template. That's my my go-to, my my point of reference, if you will. The second book just came a little bit more natural, and I got a lot more pages done for this next book. So quicker in my opinion. So
Oh yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah, because you're all warmed up, you know what you're doing.
yeah.
You're,
And then the reception of from the con, that definitely had me come back and just like be invigorated. And
that's a boost of motivation, isn't it? Like,
oh, it
seeing
sure
everybody
is.
excited,
Because
yeah.
I want to get as much of it done that I can. That if I do get into another con, I can show people, hey, look, this is coming out. So let's go. I'm in go mode. So, but I do have to jump off. I got a lunch meeting here in a bit, but I just wanted to jump on because I haven't been on a stream in a while, so I just thought I'd since you were available and you put the link out, I was like, bro, let me jump on. And
Dude, it was a pleasure. Thanks for hopping
Always,
on, man. I wanted to find out more about your event, and you just instantly hopped on and talked about it. Isn't that fantastic? Is the internet wonderful?
it sure is. It's like it's that instant gratification. So,
well, thanks for coming on, Ryan. It was nice talking with you, man. Have a good lunch. I'm going to wrap it up as well. I got to head out and do some things too.
Okay.
I'll be doing these like more regularly now. So anytime you want to hop on, hit me up, and we'll keep the conversation going, man.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. Take care.
All right, man. Take care.
See ya. All right. That was Ryan, everybody. He's got Nephilim. Is that the title? I think so. Check him out on Twitter. Interesting work he's been doing. He just hopped on the scene, was it late last year? And yeah, he's been doing a lot of stuff, man. He's impressive. He's well versed with the design. He knows his software and all that, so he's been kind of killing it. All right, folks. I think this is where I'll wrap it up for this morning. Thank you so much for everybody who popped in the chat, for Ryan for coming on. I want to be doing these morning streams a little bit on the regular, kind of get some discipline in here on making the comics. I'm going to be get started on the second book of Rattel soon as well, so it's going to be a nice spot to be working on these two. And if you guys want to hop on at any time, just hit me up in the chat and we'll make it happen. We'll have the conversation here and we'll be making good art. Thank you, Wrangler. He says, have a good one, everybody, and God bless. God bless, everybody. That's it for tonight. I'll leave you off with Sabrina, as always. Take care and have a good day.
Boys, boy, boy, boy.